Hello and welcome to Dark Side of the Mic. Today we'll be listening to the SE Electronics X1S. And while this mic has been out since 2017, there aren't many spoken word comparisons online at all, so I thought I'd do one. I think this large diaphragm model pretty much does for condensers what their V7 model does for dynamics, in delivering a lot of the fundamentals of a quality sound at a budget price. The X1S retails in the UK for a little under £100 for the bare microphone, but I just snagged one on eBay, a second one, I have two now, for only £50 brand new, which is just absolutely ridiculous for what you're getting. So this version of the mic is not to be confused with the original X1 model, which looks nearly identical. Here you're getting a custom designed, handcrafted 1-inch cardioid capsule. A remarkably smooth frequency response that has a gentle 2 to 3 dB presence boost in the air frequencies. So although it's a fairly bright sounding mic, it never feels overly harsh or overboosted in the top end, like so many budget condensers these days. It really is a much more refined, smooth sound that I think punches well above its weight, competing with mics maybe 2 to 3 times more expensive. It's also really quiet, with a self noise of just 9 dBA. And anything in single figures by today's standards is really quite exceptional. You also get -10 and -20 dB attenuation switches, and 80Hz and 160Hz low cut filters, which again is very unusual and incredible at this price. Okay, so let's do some comparisons with other microphones, and today we're going to read some extracts from Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. Now, I was first introduced to this novel when I was about 14 at high school. It was part of the curriculum, and I have to say at the time I absolutely hated it, but since I've gotten a bit older, there's elements in there that you really begin to appreciate, so maybe it's an age thing. We're going to go with that today. Okay, so starting on the X1S then. Every day is a new day. It is better to be lucky, but I would rather be exact. Then when luck comes, you're ready. And now we've moved over onto the Shure KSM32, which is a much more expensive large diaphragm condenser mic, retailing for around £500. Let's see how this compares. You did not kill the fish only to keep alive and to sell for food, he thought. You killed him for pride and because you're a fisherman. You loved him when he was alive and you loved him after. If you love him, it is not a sin to kill him, or is it more? And for the third comparison, we've moved over onto the Lewitt MTP 740CM. Now this is a handheld condenser, but it has a large diaphragm capsule inside, a 2.5-inch capsule, so it's a fairly similar sort of sound. He no longer dreamed of storms, nor of women, nor of great occurrences, nor of great fish, nor fights, nor contests of strength, nor of his wife. He only dreamed of places now, and the lions on the beach. They played like young cats in the dusk, and he loved them as he loved the boy. He never dreamed about the boy. He simply woke, looked out the open door at the moon, and unrolled his trousers and put them on. And now we've moved over onto the Sennheiser MKH416 shotgun microphone. Now this is a staple in recording studios all over the world as a voiceover mic. It's an $1,000 mic, so I don't expect it to be a fair comparison here, but I think it's really useful to put in there as a reference recording. Up the road in his shack, the old man was sleeping again. He was still sleeping on his face, and the boy was sitting by him, watching him. The old man was dreaming about the lions. And for the final comparison, we've moved over onto the Rode M3, a small diaphragm condenser mic. So it's not the same sort of microphone as the X1S, but it's in the same kind of ballpark price, and it can be used fairly well for spoken word applications, so I thought it'd be useful just to throw this one in as well. The clouds were building up now for the trade wind, and he looked ahead and saw a flight of wild ducks etching themselves against the sky over the water, then blurring, then etching again, and he knew no man was ever alone on the sea. Okay, so that ends the comparisons today, and we're now back on the X1S for some final thoughts. And the main thing I want to leave with you today is that this doesn't sound like a cheap condenser, which often tend to suffer from those sizzling, biting highs that begin to grate on your soul after a while. This doesn't do that at all. This actually sounds really very well balanced. There's even a hint of warmth in the low end there when you engage the proximity effect. There's a lightness and airiness to the high end. Sounds a little bit more open in comparison to, say, the KSM32 or the MTP 740. And of course, it doesn't have the saturation that the 416 has, but let's be honest, nothing really does. I can't believe this still appears to be such an under-the-radar mic. It's been out for 4 years, and you can now get it for absolute peanuts. Just everything about it screams class and refinement. So if you're looking for that high-end sound on a very, very limited budget, this is an absolute no-brainer.